All right, Joe, I'm going to get you to weigh in on this. I think that this is a significant thing to discuss because you say no collusion, no collusion. This, at the very least, shows a potential attempt at collusion or failed collusion. What's your take on it?
What do you think the crime was that was committed here?
Did I say that?
No, I'm saying, can you define it?
There isn't any. You can't. I mean, this is a media hype story on the left. They're blowing it. I heard Adam Schiff today call it. What did he say? He said it was unethical.
It absolutely is unethical.
Right.
Donald
Trump Jr. is not, nor was he ever in the government. How is this unethical?
Was there, and so was Kushner, and they're CC'd on the email.
And they weren't in the government either when this went down.
They're campaign officials, and the investigation is about Russian collusion with the campaign team. And it was the campaign team.
This woman, Veselnitskaya, wasn't even part of the Russian administration. She had no, her own words.
Her own words. Let's trust her.
No ties to the Russian government.
Here's the point, though. He was told, Donald Trump Jr. was told that these are Russian government officials. And his first thought wasn't, let me call the FBI. It was, yay for my daddy. I have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, I miss the days when the biggest controversy involving one of the Trump's kids was when Ivanka was sitting at the table at the G20. But no, there's always been a perception problem in the Trump White House from the very beginning, and they don't do a very good job managing the perception, the public perception that people have of them. I do have to say that Donald Trump Jr. releasing these emails was a good show of transparency, something that we haven't had in, we didn't have in the previous administration.
I will say maybe. I will say some people, some people were saying that there.
He knew the Times was sitting on a big story,
coming
right?
Out. So, I mean, I think it's good that they got out. I don't necessarily know that we know for sure the motivation for releasing them is as pure as some would say.
If I were drawing a cartoon about this, I would draw, Donald Trump Jr. finally uttering those 3 words the Democrats have been waiting for. I love it.
But was this collusion, Eric? That's the question.
Meeting with a lawyer who wants to talk about some sort of human rights and abortion rights going on in Russia versus
That's not why I took
adoption. I'm sorry. Okay, so if you think that would be collusion, even though she says I have this information that might help your father win an election, you think that's collusion or unethical. Can we talk about what Hillary Clinton did when she sold 20% of the uranium supply of the United States to the Russians, or when John Podesta had Russian stocks, his family had Russian stocks when he was negotiating some Russian deals, or when Bill Clinton went to Russia, spoke to the Russian people, spoke to the Russian government, RT, is that who?
Or Russia Today.
Russia Today. And then all of a sudden, some corporations and groups are throwing money into the Clinton Foundation. You want to talk collusion? There's your collusion.
I believe that the Clinton family is at the center of a lot of corruption, but that's not the news of the day. It's not the Clintons right now.
So what's corrupt about what happened? Explain to me, Ebony, help me out here. What went down that's illegal?
Well, we don't really know yet. It's the truest answer I can tell you, Eric. And maybe nothing, but I think it's fair to Kat's point to go through the analysis. That's all I'm saying. It's just let the facts fall. Let's go through that. Let's define what collusion is, not just colloquially, right? Because that's what a lot of people are doing. They're using this term collusion, and they're not really meaning the letter of the law collusion. They just mean something improper, something secretive, something confidential.
It goes back to that perception problem.
But I'm a little less interested in that, Jeffrey. That's fine, and we can talk about that. But I'm really focused on the legal ramifications of the legal essence of the collusion statute in dealing with that.
There's a big difference between clumsy and collusion. He shouldn't have taken this meeting. Everybody can agree on that. It was politically naive. Everybody can agree on that. Donald Trump Jr. is a businessman. He's not a politician. Someone says, I got something on the competition. He thought maybe that was a good idea to take. Let's look at this from a macro level. June 9, 2016, Donald Trump meets with a Russian lawyer who gives him no information on Hillary Clinton. It was a bait and switch. The only other accounts that we have now is Mike Flynn meeting with Kislyak, the Russian ambassador, and Jeff Sessions meeting with Kislyak, the Russian ambassador. The problem with those 2 meetings were those were after the election. For collusion to happen before an election, we would need some sort of proof for meetings before. And the only thing we have now is Donald Trump meeting with a Russian lawyer who gave him nothing.
We know the Ukrainians met with the Clinton campaign to dish dirt on the Trump administration. Now, is that collusion too? Where's the mainstream media digging into that meeting? Paul Manafort resigned based on some of the accusations that were levied against him.
Which you said that there was no evidence of any kind of collusion. I think that part of the problem is the fact that everybody in the Trump administration connected to Trump, involved in the campaign, so there was no meetings with Russia. There was nothing like it. And in this email, hey, we're the Russian government. We want to help you out. I love it. That kind of makes that narrative a little, that makes it a lot harder to trust.
Veselnitskaya, the lawyer, ended up not being one iota connected to the Russian government, according to her.
What we know right now so far.
And that's if we take her word for it. And also, Eric, that's if we, kind of ignore the denials. I think a lot of what people have an issue with is less about what we actually know or less of an actual smoking gun, because I haven't seen a smoking gun yet. We'll see what Donald Trump Jr. says tonight on Sean's show. But the denial, I think that people have an issue. That's that perception problem you're talking about, Jeffrey, where you say, I never met with these people. I never had any conversation with the Russians. And now we know that part at least is not true.
I agree.
Do you know how many government officials on an ongoing basis meet with people who represent the Russian government?
Absolutely.
Almost every single U.S. senator does it. Almost every single U.S. congressman does it as well.
So they should just say it.
Meeting with someone who's associated with the Russian government is not A, illegal, B, unethical, nor is it collusion.
So why deny it, Eric? I just want to know.
Well, I don't know. They have a lot of business in Russia. She portrayed herself.
So would that mean it's a conflict of interest of him as president? I mean, come on. Do you think this was a bad decision, Eric? Can you at least say that he did something wrong here?
Donald Trump didn't even know about it until a couple of days ago.
Do you think that Donald Trump Jr. did something wrong here?
No.
Oh, how can you say that? Is this real life? Is this real life? How can you say he didn't do anything wrong?
I will tell you 100% of the time, if someone's offered opposition research against the candidate you're running against, you're going to take it.
You're going to take it.
You are going to take it.
I think it might have just been sloppy on his part, but I don't see that he did anything wrong at this point.
You pay for opposition research.
You wouldn't tell the FBI, hey, that Russia has this information on somebody who was at the top level of our government?
First of all, if he was that worried about it, he wouldn't have said, yeah, maybe later on this summer we'll get together.
I think a lot of it would have been remedied, guys, if he would have taken it, because I'm not mad at him for taking it, Eric. You know, we talked about that yesterday. But again, then when someone says, did you have these meetings, interviews, and conversations with these Russian officials, you say, you know what, we took a meeting with them. This was the goal of the meeting. Nothing came of it, and done. End of story. And it doesn't have the legs that we see it having now.
Can I go back to a point that Eric made at the beginning of this segment, where you pointed out the CNN graphic? If you guys have that in the control room once again, as far as that knee-jerk reaction leading to the Dow going way down.
Yep.
Anybody know how the Dow finished
It ended
today?
up higher.
It ended up
Should we
in the
credit
green.
Donald Trump Jr. for making the Dow rally today?
That is a classic example.
Egan? Come on.
A classic example of the media overreacting to a story and then connecting it to the stock market and not following through, and at least waiting until 4 o'clock to make such a statement.
Look, I'm not saying
we
that
have an
this
attorney
is
here. Let me do this.
Yep.
Even if Veselnitskaya was connected to the Russian government, it's still not illegal what he did, Donald Trump Jr.
Well, that's what I was going to say. When we talk about illegal, that doesn't even mean collusion. So some collusion is legal, and that's a weird thing, right? Every piece of collusion is not illegal according to the letter of the law, and we'll break that down further when we know more. But, Eric, I think you want me to give a firm answer as to whether it was legal behavior or illegal, and it's just premature.
I think we can
as
say.
far as I know,
We're on our 12th accusation of collusion between the Trump administration
it's stale.
and Russia,
I'll give you that.
and we
That's
still haven't
stale.
found a shred of
That's absolutely
evidence.
stale. I'll give
So
you
you
that.
This
think
is
that-
not evidence of collusion
So
by
you
any
think that
means.
the investigation should be dropped? You think there's nothing there? We have to completely just
I think
stop
it's a big, colossal waste of time and money, the American taxpayer. Yeah, I do.
But would you feel that way on the other side? If it was the other side? Because I know when the
How's
Obama
this?
birth certificate thing was happening, when the long-term birth certificate came out,
Bill
you
Clinton,
continued to question that one. You brought Pamela Geller on your show and said, is this one
Kat, I just
a
gave you
joke
3
too?
examples of deals. Hillary Clinton selling uranium to the Russians. John Podesta's family having Russian stock tied to Russian stock companies. And 3 examples of actual deals being done by Clinton. Where's the investigation?
Not just Clinton, remember. The DNC actually met with Ukrainian officials
Yes.
for dirt on Donald Trump,
course.
and there was no uproar over that.
But
I think the American public is just saying,
hold
let's
on
be
now, Joe. Are you
consistent
not
with
allowed-
our
Are you not
outrage.
allowed to be upset
Joe,
at
wait a
politicians
minute.
from 2 different parties? Do you have to, like, pick one?
No.
I think that as a human, I'm allowed to be bothered by things.
No, but I'm bothered by the
And I'm allowed to
selective
be bothered
outrage
by
now.
things that the Trump family has done.
Guys, wait 1 second. Let's not have such short memories. If we go back, just right before this election, I do remember, because I was one of the people advocating, and I wasn't alone on this network or many others, that said there should be an investigation into the Clinton Foundation, that there should be investigations into many of the business dealings with the Clintons. So, no, Joe, I don't buy that there wasn't outrage around what both Clintons did when it came to Russia and other
I agree,
right?
Anthony.
You're
I said the
both
same thing.
right. You're right that
Yeah.
you said there should be, but you were vast minority of journalism. Most people are like, I'll let that go. And then as soon as there's a meeting between Trump's son,
But
who's a
he said he
businessman,
hadn't had
and
those
a
kind of
lawyer,
meetings.
and this is the collusion that you want to investigate.
Can I just
waste
put a
our
number
time and money?
around the outrage, just for a second, just on two issues that matter to the American people? 353 minutes was dedicated between May 17th and June 20th to Russia on the major evening news networks. You know how much was to tax reform, something everybody was voting on or at least is concerned about? Less than 1 minute combined. That's all you need to know.
All right, well, we're not done yet.